Motor, J Motor, J Motor, J Motor, recognize Heckler House, Heckler House. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now this week, the big news is that, the Supreme Court told these insane leftists, you can't, they're all activists. This was half their plan and it backfired on them. It didn't work because Trump has committed no crimes. So, they told these lefties, go screw yourselves. It was all the justices told him, you can't take him off the ballot. He's committed no crimes. He has immunity. So, they're screwed. They're mad. They're throwing a hissy fit. And good. Because we don't want communism, socialism, feminism, none of that crap belongs here in the United States. We are a land of opportunity and freedom. Free speech. There's no such thing as hate speech. None of that crap. Take your bullshit and go to China if you want that crap. Just about every European country, including Canada and South America, has gotten really bad with all that woke crap. Australia's just as bad. Take that shit somewhere else. We don't want it here. This is a land of freedom. They're not, Republicans aren't trying to destroy democracy. It's the Democrats who are trying to take away your freedom. Everything the Democrats claim the Republicans are doing is what they are actually doing. Now, it's been proven over and over again. So when they go say, oh, Republicans are doing this or this or this, no, it's them. They're literally telling you what they're doing and then blaming it on the Republicans. It's dumb. Not that I care for half the Republicans either, because I think they're just as stupid for letting the Democrats do that shit. Anyways, let's get on to what I really want to talk to you about. Now, first things first, I saw a few trailers that are coming out, or some new movies that are coming out. I don't care to see any of them. Honestly, almost all the new movies I really don't care to see. I might watch the new Planet of the Apes just because I've been following the movies. I've watched them all. So that one I may watch and do a review on. The rest of that junk, you can kiss my ass. Because they all have one thing in common. Guess what it is? I bitch and complain about it all the time because it's a proven fact. Feminism. Leftist ideology. I seen like 4 or 5 trailers of new movies coming out. And guess what? They all have a feminist lead in them. Every single one of them. I saw something called Damsel. I was like, she's this dainty little princess. And then all of a sudden she becomes this boss babe, fighting a dragon. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That's such unrealistic bullshit. The next one I saw was something called Wicked. It's like some black feminist liberal woman goes to college. She turns green and she becomes the Wicked Witch of the West. And she's all, he, the Wizard of Oz, should be afraid of me, not me of him. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You're a dumb bitch. And then the next one, the new diversity, which is basically them being racist. This next one's flat out racist. We've already had a year one of The Quiet Place. Or day one, sorry. Not year one. Day one. But they have a new Quiet Place movie called Day One. I'm like, we've already seen that. But this time, we're doing it from a black liberal feminist perspective. Because we're racist. We wanted to have a black woman do it this time. Fuck off, you racist pieces of shit. You know, I don't care. You can call it, oh, POCs can't be fucking racist. The fuck they can't. They're some of the most racist people in America right now. It's not white people, and there ain't no white supremacy bullshit constantly going on. It's racism. Plain and simple. Anyways, moving on to what I really wanted to talk about this week. I just got done watching that Dune Part 2. I wish I hadn't watched it because it was a waste of 3 hours. Well, about 2 hours and I think 30, 40 minutes, something like that. But I really wish I hadn't watched it. I didn't even care for the first one. The only reason that some people like the first one, and some, you know, a lot of people didn't like the first one, but some people did like it. And the reason why is because they're all like, oh, the CGI, they had such beautiful scenery, blah, blah, blah. Just totally skipping the fucking story and the characters. Like, nobody cared about that shit. All they cared about was how pretty it looked. Fuck off. You fucking Gen Z and shit, go fuck yourselves with this, oh, I'm not watching a movie unless it's pretty. It's gotta have great special effects and some awesome CGI. And the reason I say that is because my son and my daughter is the same fucking way. Like older movies that deal with the story, that tell a great story, they don't want to fucking watch them. They want to watch shit that's pretty. And that's what's wrong with most of the millennials, Gen Z, whatever. They don't want to watch it because of the story. They want to see it look great on screen. Or they can't watch it. Fuck off. You're a bunch of fucking artards. So dumb. This generation, so dumb. Anyways, this one, the sequel, is 10 times worse. This guy, Dennis V, or whatever the fuck his name is, thinks he can do the story better than the original. So he rewrites a bunch of crap. He puts crap in there like the feminist chicks in there. That shit's not in the fucking books. I've read the books. I know what I'm talking about. None of that shit's in there. That whole feminist cringe scene where she's all like, oh, everyone's fucking equal. Men and women can do the same bullshit. Bullshit. None of that crap's in the fucking books. It's so dumb. That's woke ideology. You know, that her friend or whatever, she's not in the books. He cut out like 2 main characters that move the story along. They're not in the movie, yet they need to be. Like there's a particular, I can't remember his name. There's a general that helps sabotage everything, he's not in the movie. So he cuts shit out, he replaces it with bullshit. The Harkonians, okay, if you've ever seen the original movie, they could put everything into the original movie. So yes, they cut some stuff out because it's only like they didn't have the time to put everything in the movie. I get it. But it's 10 times better and far more closer to the books, accurately to the books, than this bullshit. The Harkonians, I made them look like they're fucking like pale skin, black eyes 1 minute, and then normal eyes 1 minute. There's even a scene where they have normal looking skin. Like, what the fuck, dude? Give me a fucking break. The Harkonians in the original movie look like the Harkonians in the book. The way they're described in the book. This bullshit is retarded. And then, I hate this movie. I hate what this dude's doing. He sucks. He can't tell a story. It's all gotta be pretty. There's maybe 5 to 10 minutes of action in this movie. The rest of it's all overblown drama scenes. Like, it's so boring. You just get a few minutes of action. That's it. In the original movie, you got plenty of action. This one, no. Just a couple scenes. It's dumb. It's stupid. Anyways, don't waste your time with this fucking movie. The guy can't even tell a fucking story right. He's mismatched and jumbled. It doesn't even go in chronological order. It's terrible. Terrible. 2 thumbs down. Don't watch this movie. You're wasting your time. And I've seen other YouTubers review this shit. And 90%, I'd say 90% of all the reviews I saw hate this movie. Okay? There are a couple of shrills out there. There's one in particular which I had a lot of respect for his group. He's got a group of YouTubers under him. And I used to have a lot of respect for him because he deals with the comic book industry. And he knows a lot about the Hollywood studios and shit like that. But no, lately he's been, he's a paid shrill now, and his group of cohorts are doing the same thing. They're all paid shrills, and they've proven it time and time again here lately. It just irritates me. But people do whatever for a good chunk of money. Anyways, I would say, like I said, a good 90% of YouTubers hate this movie. And I don't blame them because it sucks. Now, if you look up articles, like, you can't trust Rotten Tomatoes. They skewer their numbers. But there's people who like to use that site. You can't trust them. They get paid to skewer the numbers. Like, they're all, of course, their critics are going to be like 90%, and they skewered their numbers, and it's already been proven they did it for this movie too. Warner Brothers paid them to skewer the numbers, so naturally 90% of the audience likes this movie. Get out of here, bullshit. When the vast majority of people are fucking telling you that this movie sucks, a lot of your top articles, if you look it up, they'll say, oh, it's a great movie, blah, 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 because of the critics. But if you dig deeper, you'll find a lot of articles that say, no, this movie sucks. Anyways, like I said, don't waste your time. Let's get on to your B movie reviews. Okay, movieaholics. This week is Sci-Fi Week. And we're actually going to take a look at a couple older movies. I mean, from the 60s. I like some 60s sci-fi, I really do. Or, you know, just movies in general from the 60s. You know, earlier movies. Because instead of it looking pretty, you know, they focus on the story. You know, of course you're not going to have, like, the best special effects. But that's not what matters. What matters is the story. Is it good? Is it, you know, something worth watching? So the first one we're going to take a look at is called The Time Travelers. And it was done in 1964. It starred John Hoyt, Mary Anders, and Preston Foster. Now, there's no box office numbers on this because it was originally supposed to be a pilot for like a TV show, but it didn't turn out that way. You later got something like the Time Tunnel and stuff, which I've done a review in the past on this channel. Anyways, the basic story is you have 3 scientists and an engineer. And they're working on a window to look into the future or the past. You know, to get a glimpse. But something happens. They have some circuits short circuit this round that they're testing it. They're doing a test at the beginning. And it actually opens up a portal into this giant TV screen, which becomes like a window. Looks like a window, and it becomes a portal. Instead of just a screen looking into the past, now they can go into the past or future. Well, they end up making it sometime in the future. And they go in the future, something happens and the portal closes. They all end up in the future, and there's some mutants on the... It's still Earth. There's some mutants on Earth. Apparently there was this atomic war or whatever, or nuclear war. And now there's just a few unaffected by radiation humans left on the planet. 1 bunker, supposedly. That's all. They're trying to build a rocket to escape because the planet's full of mutants now due to the radiation poisoning. This rocket will take them, or a spaceship actually, will take them to Alpha Centauri, where they can colonize and start the human race over. But they're constantly being attacked by the mutants. Well, the 4 from the past decide to help them out. But then they're told they can't join them on the spaceship because they didn't account for 4 extra people. You know, the math doesn't work, so they don't have the resources for 4 extra people. So instead they start building another portal, which they do. The mutants attack one more huge attack, destroy the spaceship, and a few of the future people have to go with, the four from the past, they get another portal working and they go back into the past, but they come back during a time just before they left originally into the future, but time is slowed down and they're moving really fast. They're going to die really quick, but the portal that they were working on in the past before they go had opened up to future that was way beyond, like hundreds of thousands of years. And they go into the portal again and they end up, way into the future. And everything's green and lush. The radiation's gone, the mutants are gone. Yeah, so everything's good now. Just before they end the movie, they do this thing where they do this time loop thing where they go real fast through the movie, like a couple of times. I don't know why it did that. It made no sense. Like, time repeats itself, I guess. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. But that's the end of the movie. I like the story. The story's good. Like, you don't see stories like that anymore. Everything's fucking some type of alien invasion when it comes to sci-fi. You very rarely see time travel movies anymore. Everything's superhero bullshit. It's been that way for years now. And then, the couple of franchises that actually deal with something to do with like space voyages or something like that have been taken over by, gay leftists. And it's just like J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman. They've destroyed Star Trek and Star Wars. It's just, you don't get any good sci-fi anymore. It's all trash. Same thing with horror. I used to like some, horror from the 80s and 90s, but any more horror movies are just as bad. I don't know. I guess some of the fantasy might be okay, but most of it's trash too. It's just, with all the woke ideology, everything's gone to trash. They don't care about the stories or characters anymore. It's just cash cows. Let's do a bunch of remakes. Slap that fucking title on there because everybody knows that fucking title. And they're going to check it out just to see what we did with it. Even though it's horrible. It's a shitty remake. Or reboot. Whatever. They can't come up with anything original anymore. So you don't get any good sci-fi, any good movies, period, anymore. But yeah, I liked the old sci-fi and fantasy shit and some of the horror. It's just good stuff. The new stuff sucks. Anyways, this movie, even though, the special effects ain't going to be great, it's the story that matters, and it's an excellent story. 2 thumbs up. Sci-fi, action, adventure. Great movie. Alright, let's get on to your next one. So the next one I watched, of course, was also done in 1964. It actually made about 106 million worldwide, which is really shocking, for back then. Normally it doesn't get that high. It's called First Men in the Moon. It starred Edward Judd and Martha Hyer. Now, Martha Hyer was a good-looking woman back then, I'm telling you. Some of them older actresses were really good-looking. You know, they didn't cake their face with makeup and crap. So they looked really good. Some of them. Anyways, this is basically a story about there's an expedition at the very beginning. They have an expedition to the moon. Now, instead of just like the Soviet Union or the United States or the United Kingdom, it was several countries. You know, each one had an astronaut aboard the space shuttle. They land on the moon and they discover a British flag and a note claiming from 1899, I think it was the year. So they're like, what the hell? The British were already here on the moon? What the hell's going on? Well, on the note, it lists the name of this woman, which is played by Martha Hyer, her character. Anyways, they go and search for this woman. Instead, they find this guy who was her husband. They find him in an old folks home, like a nursing home. He's been writing NASA and you know, the British consulate and all kinds of you know, space, you know, anyone involved with the space or government, trying to tell them, you know, about his story, but nobody, they all thought he was a kook and didn't want to listen. Now they all show up and they're wanting to listen to his story. So he tells this story about how they went to the moon, and he said, wait, have you already had another you must have sent an expedition to the moon, because that's the only way you could have gotten pictures of this stuff. You know, because they're showing pictures of the flag and the note. And they're like, yeah, there's one on the moon right now. He's all like, you need to get them off the moon now. They're in extreme danger. And he tells them his story about how he meets this crackpot scientist who invents some type of outer coating for a shell that looks like it looks like he took a you know, one of them old ass 1800 mines that you put in the water with the spikes on them. He made like a giant version of that without the spikes. Instead, the spikes have been shaved off or something. They're flat. And then he coated the outside of this ball, mine ball, and with this stuff he invented that supposedly cuts off gravity. In other words, once it dries, it'll float, you know, like there's no gravity. You know, it stops the gravity from holding it down. Anyways, he coats the whole outside of this. And then him and this, you know, this guy that's in the old folks home, he's actually a businessman. And he wants to, like, go and, you know, be his partner or whatever for this stuff. Well, the crackpot scientist says, not until we go to the moon first. And he thinks he's crazy, but he's being serious. He's like, fine, let's go to the moon. He goes along with it, even though he knows it's crazy. He doesn't think it's actually going to happen. Well, at the time, you know, Martha, her character's not his wife yet. She's his fiance. And she thinks he's nuts. She don't want him to go. But she shows up. They're about to blast off. Everything's going to blow up around the sphere. So he grabs her and pulls her in the sphere, and they all end up going to the moon together. But when they get to the moon, they plant the flag or whatever. The two men, the crackpot scientist and the businessman, you know, the future husband, they have suits. They got suits for it, but again, this is a 1960s movie, so naturally, you know, you're not going to get, you know, great special effects and all that crap. and they're wearing around these suits without any gloves, like it's bare hands. You know it's not possible. Anyways, they leave her in the sphere, and they go, exploring, looking around. The crackpot plants the flag and the note with her name on it. And then they find this opening, glass opening or whatever, with steps that leads down into this giant hole or some shit. Well, they go down there and they discover there's a whole civilization down there of these insectoid-looking beings. They basically want to take over Earth, so they're trying to figure out what the hell, all about Earth. And they figure they're going to go to Earth and then destroy it because they can't let them come up there and destroy their civilization. Now, I understand this movie is an adaptation of an H.G. Wells novel. So you might know where it's going to go if you know anything about War of the Worlds, another H.G. Wells novel that turned into a movie. Anyways, I was surprised. I didn't know there was more than one H.G. Wells novel that turned into a movie, except for War of the Worlds. But apparently they did this one too. I didn't know it. Anyways, getting on back to the movie. They managed to escape, get back in the ship, but the crackpot scientist stays behind. He wants to learn more about the civilization. So he stays behind, and the future husband and wife, they take off in the ship back to Earth. It ends with him telling the story to the group, and they try to get in touch with the expedition team that's on the moon. The expedition team actually finds the old abandoned city because it's abandoned, it's been derelict, it's crumbling, it's falling apart, and they discover that apparently there was an Earth virus germ that wiped them all out because the old crackpot scientist gave it to him. So, I mean, it's the same thing as War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells, kept it simple. Same thing happened to the aliens in War of the Worlds, it was a human virus that wiped them out, supposedly. But anyways, that was the end of the movie. The expedition was able to come back, but the city collapsed in on itself. That's the end of the movie. I thought it was a great story. It's actually good. This is originally in black and white. I'm not sure if I very rarely watch anything black and white, but I can every once in a while. But I found a colorized version of this, which was very helpful. I like it better when it's colorized. Great movie, 2 thumbs up, action adventure. They knew how to tell stories back then. They don't now, but they did back then. Check it out. I'm telling you, it's a good movie. You won't be disappointed. Again, you just have to overlook the fact that it's not going to be pretty and a bunch of CGI, great special effects, Of course, it's going to be a little bit cheesy. It's the 60s. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions of movies or underrated B-rated movies I may never even heard of, and you'd like me to check them out and possibly do a review on them, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So, until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.